Well, I think there's a lot of regulation coming down the pipeline. In particular, there is the EU AI Act, which is currently in kind of the last stages of debate in EU Parliament and in the EU Commission. And that is expected to be a sweeping kind of landmark legislation that sets the standard worldwide for regulation of AI systems, similar to how GDPR was the first of its kind legislation that really set the standard for privacy law, and to which all privacy law that's been subsequently passed in the States and elsewhere is similar. I think the UAI Act will kind of set the stage and set the tone for how AI systems are regulated. And privacy is actually a key tenet of that act. So I think, again, the final text is still being debated. You can look it up online, but regulation would be welcome that has some mandatory penalties and teeth for privacy violations. Another little known fact is that most of the current US state-based privacy laws, there are 6 states right now, including Iowa, which just signed it into law yesterday, that have privacy laws. So of those 6 states, 5, except Utah, all have clauses that give people the right to opt out of automated processing of their personally identifiable information. I think it will be an interesting thing to see as more and more AI systems get deployed in business and in government and make decisions that are really impactful on people's lives, how those privacy clauses are going to affect the deployment of those systems, and what mechanisms will people have to really opt out and verify that they've opted out. I think the problem with large neural networks in general is that they're largely a black box right now, even to the developers. No one can really explain how they work. There's some work being done in explainable AI right now to be able to kind of filter down all of the complex processes that are taking place inside the neural network. But once it ingests data and is trained on it, the data is inside that network in a very inscrutable way. You can't just pluck it out, or delete it from that network without having to retrain the whole model, which is incredibly expensive because companies spend millions of dollars in compute and electricity to train these models because they're very computationally intensive to train. But once the model is trained, really the only safeguards or modifications you can make to it is to kind of bolt on additional controls on the outside and filters. The model itself remains unchanged as it is very expensive to change. So you can't just say, I want somebody to delete all of my personal information from a neural network, because that's just not technically possible. So it will be interesting to see, again, how the privacy law comes into play with people's right to opt out and people's right to deletion from these neural networks and AI systems.